I suppose we should start by showing the image of my piece. This is a portrait of one of my partners, Felix, on his deathbed in 1994. It's taken about 3 hours after he died. He wasted away. There wasn't enough flesh to support life. He actually didn't die of any particular infection. He just couldn't support life. So his eyes are open because there was not enough flesh left to close his eyes. This piece, actually this is about the size that the actual piece is, and it was first shown as a series of billboards around Munich, on the ring road around Munich. And Munich, of course, is in the area where all the, near where the concentration camps started. And the image for the people in Munich brought up a conversation around the Holocaust and around AIDS. At any rate, this piece, I think I never actually saw the show. I spent most of the time that the Hide-Seek show was on in Paris, installing an exhibition at the Musée d'Art Moderne there. But I understand that this was by far the biggest piece in the show. And so when I heard that the Wojnarowicz had been withdrawn, my first thought was that I didn't want to be in a show where Wojnarowicz could not, he was not there to protect himself. I didn't want to be in a show where there was that kind of censorship. And so I first of all emailed the National Gallery of Canada, who owned the piece, and told them I was going to request the removal of the piece. And then I emailed Martin Sullivan, the director of the National Portrait Gallery, and requested that the piece be withdrawn. Martin Sullivan's response was that they had a loan agreement with the National Gallery of Canada and therefore didn't have to remove the piece. I was actually kind of surprised, I guess innocent enough, after all these years, still innocent enough to be surprised that my wishes as the artist were not being respected in any way, barely even acknowledged. The National Gallery put in a formal request to the National Portrait Gallery that they respond to my wishes, that they go with my wishes. They did. The National Gallery of Canada, however, did not push the issue. They did not insist the piece be withdrawn. They requested that my desires be respected. The National Portrait Gallery again refused to remove the piece. And then there was a series of days, I don't know, probably for about a week, where I put a public request out to have the piece removed on Facebook every day. That didn't get me anywhere. So finally, I got a lawyer to start working on it. And he found a kind of complicated way by which we would be able to have the piece removed. But in order to do that, we had to sue the National Portrait Gallery, and we had to sue them on the basis of a copyright issue. Now, I'm not actually a supporter of copyright. I steal images all the time. So for me to go and withdraw my piece on the basis of copyright seemed like not really quite the right way to go. And also, it was taking the conversation away from censorship and into copyright, which also I felt was not the way to go. So I left the piece there. The National Portrait Gallery, bless their soul, first of all offered me a free ticket to Washington to see the show. They thought that maybe I'd be, maybe a free ticket would be enough to calm me down. Then they offered that I could put a public statement next to the piece, and then at a later date they offered that I could speak on a panel discussion. But I felt that by all those moves they were trying to co-opt my energy. So I stayed with my desire to have the piece removed, but in the end I was entirely unsuccessful. I don't know whether I need to say anything more right now. I mean, I have mixed feelings about being on this panel because I feel that one of the big problems in America is the use of a militaristic language. And the kind of language that's being used in the publicity for this event, I feel, is completely inappropriate. I think that if you're going to have a battle, if you're going to have a fight, you're only going to make things ultimately worse. I guess I'm a pacifist by nature. I'm a good Canadian that way. So I have misgivings. I also have misgivings about nationalism. I think nationalism is what causes wars. And so I think all the discussions about America and what the real America and what America was and what it could be and so on and so forth, all those discussions down in a way to me they don't enhance the issue, anything about the issue of censorship or free speech, which I think is an issue for all people everywhere. It's not an American issue. So okay, those are my reservations, and I'll stop there.